dodge my shots? Hello? Hello? The fuck? How are my boats dead? I mean, how are my tanks dead? These Phoenix just keep... Alright, this is temporary tricks. This is 100% sure, by the way.
Oh, ist das schön. Das ist richtig schön. Das ist ein richtiges Surrey-Play. Holy shit. Und die fliegen durch und holen gleich noch einen Debuff. Dann kommen sie hinter dem Mustangs wieder raus.
Those clips were from a year ago, so imagine what I can do now and imagine me teaching it to you. Welcome to the Rats Mobile Beacon Guide.
He will fire here and this guy will prevent it. I'm pretty sure. Let's see if it works.
I am carefully positioning my units so they will pull away his anti-air and other units away from his towers to clear a path for the wasps. So here I'm playing a one-sided game. I'm beaconing the fangs into the corner so the enemy guys will follow them and not join the main fight.
Boom.
So to tame the beacon, you must first understand it. There's a couple of things. Let's start with air units. Phoenix, for example. I'm gonna try to take this tower, see how this behaves. So it will fly on its paths, and it targets normally, targeting these fangs. It spins around. Then when the targets he has acquired, like right here, are dead, he will target the tower, right? But how the beacon works is when something is on the beacon line, for example, if I beacon like this, they will move as soon as the guys who are standing on the beacon are on the Phoenix range. Then they stop, but they don't shoot at this target. They shoot whatever is closest to them. So if we do it like this, so now the tower is inside the beacon's target, and it will go forward as long as the range will hit the tower, and then it starts shooting at the closest target, which is these fangs, so it will not kill the tower now. So it's very important where you place your beacons with the Phoenix. And beacons like these are way easier with wasps because they have such a short range. So when you beacon them to the tower, they only stop like right here. So they will get the tower. You can see the same effect here. If I beacon to the fortress, they stop like right now because the fortress is in their range. but they will actually start shooting at the fangs because they are the closest target. And when the fortress is removed, it's clear path again. And with melee units, it's more simpler. Even though there's stuff like inside the beacon, it doesn't matter because the guy only stops when something is near him, so he can hit it. So now this guy will just run straight to the tower. And how the beacon, like how the units move with the beacon is that they end on the same spot as you started on. So if I put the rhino in the center, it will travel to the center of the beacon where my mouse is, like right here, and then continue right here. So it will travel to here, because he's in the center here, he will travel here and then here. But if I position it here, he will not go where my mouse is, he will go on the left side of the beacon. So if I want to put it on the tower, it needs to be like this. And then the second line, he's gonna continue his path from like here to here, and he's on top of the second point. So now it's like here. And for example, many people do these beacons like they do it like this. And then the rhino walks past the towers. Then they complain that the mobile beacon is bugged, but they just don't understand how it works. I've had many opponents do this to me, by the way. Also, we learned that the Phoenix, for example, like all range units, like the Fortress, will stop if something is on the beacon path, right? So if I want this to move forward, there could be like enemy oil coming here, and you want the shield to move as fast as possible to forward. So I could beacon this like here. And now it moves. Let's buy the temp speed. It moves and blocks the oil. If I would place the beacon like this, it would stand still. Because there's stuff in the beacon path, right? And combining both of these knowledge, we know that when I beacon like this, the fortress will move like along this path. But also the starting line matters. Like I can start the beacon from here, like from here to here, and now it moves on the like back line of the, or the front line of the circle. So what this does is that you can place the mobile beacon closer to the arc lights. So if I, like we knew that if I do this, it stops. But if I do, for example, this, it only walks a little bit forward and stops here because the beacon stops because I grabbed it from the front. But if I grab the guy from the back, Now the beacon is much longer, so the fort will go more forward. Now the beacon is longer, it will move much further. So when is this kind of stuff useful? Well, there's two cases that come in mind. One is the oil I showed you about. Usually when people do oil, they do something like this. They put the oil here, so your aggressive stuff can't move forward. Then they try to block your guy with a crawler or something, so it doesn't move. So what you do is you expect the crawlers, because maybe you see the oil is not on cooldown, and then you do the beacon play. The second thing where this is useful is with war factories. Like this corner war factory is pretty popular strategy, and the idea is that you are like protecting your factory by placing chaff here, so the enemy can't really, he cannot lock to the factory anywhere except like this, and if he puts a melter here, it's instantly dead. So this is a very safe position, and you usually want to go like launcher overload, so it shoots very fast, kills everything along its path. And this is where the beacon also comes in. So if you would beacon it like this, it will stop if something is on the beacon. Like if there's usually units here, so the war factory will stop like here and start shooting it. But if we do the beacon from like here, there is never anything here. All his crap is here, and now the war factory's like backline is here. So the factory will actually move here without being interrupted. And with the factory also, you see there's 4 cannons. There's front cannons and back cannons, and they have like this kind of weird range. So you see the range here. When something is on the range, only the front cannon shoots, and the back cannons aren't doing anything. And when you beacon the war factory further, and it like doesn't stop to shoot, then he moves closer and the back cannons shoot also. Hope that makes sense. I don't want to build like a defensive board here. So this is how the beacon works. Do you have any questions? Please ask them in the chat or the comments, I mean. So, onto the cool stuff, the actual mobile beacons. First we will defend some drops with the beacon. So there's multiple situations where you have like one tower defended, maybe there's units here, maybe you have leveled it, and there's a rhino drop coming and you don't know if it's gonna come here or here. So what you can do is beacon like this. And let's put the rhino drop, for example, here. We will do it on both sides. See what happens. So the objective is to delay these drops as long as possible, because if your towers are open, all your units are like here pushing. So if you can delay them enough, you will have time to kill the enemy towers. So this rhino is going to Africa here. Then we will do the drop here. It's hard to find the actual perfect beacon because the enemy has like ability to drop this wherever. So usually people put it like here, or if you have some stuff like here, they put it here, so it will be far away. So let's put it here. Or actually our position is worse if the guy is closer, right? So let's put it there and do the exact same beacon. So as you can see, you can defend 2 towers from the Rhino drop with 1 beacon. Then the mobilized battleship, and I will demonstrate it with speed because it comes pretty late game, so if you are pushing here you should always buy the speed. And it's pretty hard to defend against, like if your one tower is completely naked from both sides, it's not that great, but this can delay a little bit. But this guy will get the tower eventually, like pretty fast. But it still delays if you need to do this play. But if you know where the drop is gonna come, for example, if this is your only vulnerable position, you will place 1 crawler there. And you can do it like this. If you do the beacon as a full length, if you have too much speed, the boat will try to target the tower. So you need to cut it a little bit short. As you can see, the boat is distracted for a really long time. Also the sides, if you know this is gonna happen, like if you know it's gonna come on the side, you can just, usually like a good crawler placement in every game is to put the crawlers here and 3 or 4 squares back, so if the enemy goes like a fire batcher here, you can put something like a rhino or a giant in front of it. So this is like a pretty usual crawler placement you would have. So you just grab them and put them as close to the edge as possible. And then the Overlord isn't interested in your tower anymore. He's in love with the crawlers. The same beacon works against underground threat and wasp summoning. I have them both coming in here. But usually you would only see one of them. But it's very easy to distract these guys if you know where they're coming. So if you build your board at 1 tower is only vulnerable, it's pretty easy. Next up is abusing the beacon to turn your guys around. So what usually happens in this situation is that these guys will pull everything from here to here. So my 2 crawler pack will go here to get grilled. Let's see. They go there. Now we turn them. You can see they face forward. This is not gonna work on everything, by the way, because these are too far away, but look at this pack. And then we have the mobile beacon even available. Let's do something with it. For example this, and look where they go now. Oh, it actually worked on everything. Okay, I didn't even know that. Good to learn. But that's a cool trick. And then we have a Phoenix flank coming in, and we don't have any anti-air here. The Mustangs are going forward because they are not here. So we shall see what happens. Everything goes forward and the Phoenixes will eventually take both of our towers here. But we can turn the Mustangs here. And we can preemptively turn these as well. If we expect like a fire batcher. So you don't need to see the units placed. You can do this before you see anything and it will still work. And without even using the beacon. So let's use it again on something. So now the Mustangs will go here, kill the Phoenix. Easy defense. Then if you are expecting like a Phoenix flank, you can delay it a lot with crawlers. And you don't even have to grab all of them. You can use them for in the fight. You can grab like half of them. Do something like this. This will delay the Phoenixes quite a bit. So let's see. And Cus told me about this beacon. He said he will make his own mobile beacon video, but it has been like 6 months. So I'm still waiting for it. But this kind of stuff will also buy you a lot of time. If you have like level tower on top of it, there's like the Phoenixes will take forever to kill it. Then to some offensive beacons, like pretty easy one is to put wasps here and beacon them to the tower. And with the Phoenix, for example, you want to go like this, right? But with the wasps, I usually find that you wanna touch the tower. Because sometimes if you try to do a beacon like this, for example, there could be a fang pack here, and a wasp pack will kill a fang pack. So usually what happens is the fangs kill like 80% of your wasps from this side, and then the remaining guys fly over here, and they don't have range to hit the tower. So with the wasps, always connect the beacon to the tower. It's much more reliable. So let's say you start your like flank like this. You can always press the jump drive, by the way, right away, because it increases the movement speed. So you do your flank, it works, whatever. Then usually the wasps level here. So let's take jump drive and level it. Now you have a lot of options. You can move this guy around here without it needing to warp in again. But if you put it here in the meantime, then it will warp again. So you can do something like this. Put a crawler here. Move this guy here. And beacon it again. And usually how the enemy is gonna respond to it is that they're gonna put a missile here. Or they are gonna put like a Mustang here. And a crawler here. And now because your wasp is leveled, it will just kill the Mustang. Then after this your enemy will probably like freak out, put a lot of garbage here. So you can do something like this, put a crawler here, pull his units here, and now you can go with the wasp from this side, for example. Like this. And if there you probably have stuff here to pull all of his units here. Now he will like put one unit here, one unit here. Maybe he start missiling here because he thinks you are going to jump drive the wasp here. But there isn't here anything usually. So this is like a good sequence of an attack. So you can do the same thing with the Phoenix, of course. So here is the turn 1, where there's no anti-air, you kill the tower. So all of the options here are a bit of a gamble. Like the enemy could do whatever. He could do Mustang here, he could do Mustang here, he can do Fang here, he can do Mustang here and Mustang here, he can do Mustang, for example, here and Mustang here. If he does 2 Mustangs here, there's no avenue of attack anymore. But then maybe this is empty, so maybe it's hard for him. There's also, you could do from here, you can beacon the Phoenix like this. And what you saw me do in the clip earlier is that I deployed some crawlers here. Apply the Phoenix here. But this is very risky. It only works if the enemy like exactly puts a Fang here, right? If he puts Mustangs here, it's no good. And it will get the second tower also. This is a really cool play, but it's like you need to have a pretty good read on what the opponent is doing. Then there's also a very safe option for a beacon. Like this one here. You can actually connect to these steel balls very easily here, because if you do a beacon from here, you will expect the anti-air to be here, right? Or somewhere along this area. So you can connect to the balls here, then you can beacon the Phoenix back like this. So they will kill the balls and then they are in time here to defend these balls. And sometimes it's good with the jump drive to fall back for one turn, so you know what the enemy is like doing. He could be like putting missile here, missile here, missile here. If you do this kind of play a lot like me, people are gonna expect it. So sometimes they like crazy overreacts. So it's very beneficial to me to fall back for one turn and see how like scared they are. As you can see, the Phoenix will get a lot of value by connecting to the big stuff first, and they are completely safe behind your units here. And the anti-air he has deployed here is lagging behind if there would be like a Mustangs or something. And if you want to take the enemy towers with wasps, it's not about the beacons, right? It's about knowing where the enemy units will move and how to manipulate their positions. So that's gonna be another video, so please subscribe so you don't miss it. Also, I don't have a list for these beacons, I'm just pulling them out of my head, so I'm not sure if I will remember everything I know. And probably I need to do another video, so subscribe for that as well. So next, some standard beacons. If your enemy has storms like this, you can distract them with a crawler like this. Keep in mind they will pull everything from here to here, so you always do this on the side where you have better chaff clear, because everything is coming here. And you see the storms are shooting at the crawlers and missing. I have also seen this play where you deploy like worms here with the distraction callers. And what's the idea behind this is that it serves the same purpose, but additionally you get late worms, so when the front line is dead and there's like a multiple storms, multiple marksmans, the worms are coming in the clear up phase, like when the battle is like when the front line is dead. It's pretty interesting. I don't think I don't know if it's good or not, but I've seen some people do it. It's very interesting to me. Then there's some interesting ones, like if you go early wasp, for example, you might wanna use only one wasp. So this means the enemy is gonna match it, right? When he sees your wasp, he's gonna put a Mustang here or something. And say you have Vulcans, it's very bad for the enemy to have wasps. So you can bait out multiple Mustangs by placing the wasp here, then next turn like mobile beaconing them like this, so they will fight on this side instead. And maybe he will only deploy Mustang here and here. And it's gonna be really good. And then the enemy has to deploy like Mustangs everywhere. Then you sell this guy, go more into Vulcan, now Mustang is useless. You can do this trick with a lot of units. For example, if you are, for example, a giant spec and you recruit one worm here or something, it's very strong on the first turn it comes out, right? Maybe he freaks out, goes like a melting point or something. Then you do the same, beacon it from here to here. Then he needs to add the same counter here. And now you can just sell out of it and counter what he's doing. These are like really interesting plays you can do. The mobile beacon is also good at fixing your own mistakes. So let's see, for example, here the Vulcan is stuck on the sledgehammers and now all the crawlers are coming in. And nothing is clearing the crawlers, right? Because the Vulcan is stuck here. Same thing is happening here. Then you can check he has a lot of crawlers. Everything is coming to here in this position. Then you can beacon the Vulcan a little bit back. Like this. It should be enough. Now it is enough to not get stuck on the tanks. And as you can see now we are clearing the crawlers again, not being stuck on the tanks. So it's a good situation where you have made some kind of misplay or the enemy is trying to block your stuff. You can reposition it a little bit if you want. Then if you have some sort of one-sided game like this, you are pushing the tower, maybe you are expecting the enemy to missile your level 2 crawlers. You can do a little bit beacon like this backwards to save some of them. It works very well if the enemy puts the missile like here. He only gets 3 crawlers from the front, but if he puts it on the line, you can still save some. Then sometimes early on in the game I like to have these clusters of units that work very well together, that fit inside one beacon, so you have a lot of options here. If this is your turn something play, then the enemy, you might expect the enemy to counter it with maybe a melting point or something on here. So you have a lot of options here depending on how the enemy will answer. You can fall back here completely, like this. And you can play standard. You can move your guys to the other side, place all your units here, push this side instead. Then all of his deployments here are completely useless. This is a very nice deployment where you put useful stuff together so you can move it around. There's basically like 3 directions of attack. So you can fall back, you can go to the other tower, or you can push this harder depending on the situation. This is very hard to deal with in multiple situations. Then there's multiple unit compositions which benefit when you beacon them to the enemy tower. Like this, the classic Blender Rhino. I don't know if it's that good anymore, but the idea here is when the guys do the whirlwind, they actually push the forward guys forward when they do it, when you beacon it to the tower. So let's see. You can do this with a lot of different units. With Worm, for example, you can beacon them somewhere and they will replicate a lot more because they kill everything on the path, so they burrow and unburrow fast. So as you can see, the back Rhino pushes the front guy forward. So there's multiple these little tricks in the game that can be useful sometimes. Then there's multiple of these degenerate strategies where you've been maybe pushing with boats early game, then the enemy goes Mustangs or something. And then you just go fire and jump drive the boats back here. Then you delay the boats so they are not going forward and you are letting the Mustangs burn. You can do this with all sorts of air units, like it's pretty popular in standard games to like go Wasp here, beacon them around, then fire the enemy Mustangs. And if the enemy does this to you, you can stick your Mustangs to the back line and then beacon them around also. And now when the boats are finally coming into range, every anti-air unit the enemy has is already dead to the fire. Then in different pushing situations, like for here I have set up an example, this middle position is very powerful to beacon. Because if you are pushing from the sides like this, the enemy needs to defend like this area and this area. So when you add 3 deployments or some little stuff here that does the job, you can beacon them to here or beacon them to here. This means that the enemy needs to protect this side and this side, so he needs to waste double the amounts of deployments to counter this, basically. This is also a very good position, for example, with the Rhino specialist. You can put the Rhino in the middle, and then you can beacon it around. Either straight here, or then you can do some kind of loop from here to here. It's a lot of flexibility in this position. It's very good aggressive position with the beacon. Then there's the classic boat beacon, where you have been playing one side, the enemy has focused his efforts here, and then you just use jump drive, or you can just build more boats as well. But you go on the other side. Let's say you build one more. Build one crawler here to distract the enemy. By temp speed, missile the enemy chaff. Go like beacon from here to here. What this does is that the Overlord artillery will kill the enemy tower. Then your guys are killing the other tower as well, and then they are collapsing on the enemy after that. You can do this also with like 2 boats with ground cannon as a cheese play if the other tower is undefended. Sometimes the enemy has missiles left from the last round in the game, like here he has been protecting both of his flanks. So you can actually trigger this quite easily with mobile beacon. For example, in this situation you could just grab a couple of crawlers and put them here to trigger the beacon. Also something I like to do in this situation, for example, if I have something to rush the tower with and I'm pretty sure I will win the round, I will use the beacon to kill the tower and trigger the missile. So I will demonstrate both of these to you. We can see. So here a couple of crawlers will split. They are going towards the missile. Here is boom, the first missile, and here we are continuing the beacon to get the other missile as well. So this is also something you can do. I almost forgot the most basic use of the mobile beacon. So there was a missile strike to be big, right? You can see it here now. So which is the best position for the enemy to missile strike? Whoa, it's probably the level 3 wasps. So you can dodge it by doing a movement like this, for example. Like the enemy is expecting them to move forward, so he will put it here. You can dodge all sort of stuff, orbital javelins and stuff like that. Or you can fly your units out of a storm or orbital bombardment or whatever. And for example, if the enemy is pushing one side and you choose not to defend it, you can pull the enemy guys to anywhere you want. You can pull them to here, or you can actually pull them also to the corner if you want to take this tower and this tower. So let's demonstrate this one, for example. So all the guys are following the crawlers. So you can manipulate the movement of the enemy army like a lot. If this hurts the enemy too much, he will next turn beacon his stuff to the tower, by the way, so expect that. And as I said earlier, you can actually put them also in this corner if you want. You can even put oil there, so they will be stuck there forever. You can also do the same stuff if the enemy flanks you with something. For example here. You can just take them on a ride, like this. So they are not interested in your tower anymore. You can do it like this also, if you for some reason want to attract the guys here. This is pretty funny, for example, with replicate crawlers. If there's a lot of replicate crawlers here, you can pull them all here. Well, now one boat got there, but there's a lot of unit compositions where you can pull safely everyone to here, if that's what you want for some reason. Oh, we managed to lock them onto the rhino. We are getting the fuck out of here. Lure all his shit here. So he's gonna put something here. Melting point. Might actually need to do a little bit of this to not get insta-targeted. Yeah, melter. Bye-bye. Oh shit, does it actually... Yeah, glad I did the small angle. So in this game, for example, you will see me fall backward from a standard position or aggressive position. So how the game went is that I was winning pretty heavily, then the enemy went multi-melting point, which is good into aggression, but very bad into a defensive position. So with the oil available, I'm selling my frontline unit and then beaconing all the other guys backward and using the long-range melting points to counter his short-range melting points. And the beacon allowed me to save most of my units while making this play. And yeah, this is the last clip of the video. This is way too many beacons for me already. I will maybe make another video about the beacons. There's a lot more maybe. I can't remember. My brain is already fried from making this. So please subscribe and like, so you don't miss the next one. Holy shit. He does the same play. Holy shit, quite close game.